In this chapter, we're going to focus on the following 10 key words: mole, vigilant, amiss, scurry, hearth, haggle, anonymous, clarification, radiant, and havoc. Now let's start with the first key word. Now we can see that we have a sledgehammer and it is used to crush whatever there was on that table. But how is that related to the word maul? Let's find out. A maul is a verb. If you are mauled by an animal, you are violently attacked by it and badly injured. For example, he had been mauled by a bear, violently attacked and badly injured. Or we can say the dog went berserk and mauled one of the girls. And synonyms for maul are the words mangle, claw, and tear. And maul can also be used in a different context. If someone is mauled, they are attacked aggressively and often harmed in some way. For example, the cable TV and healthcare industries are both being mauled by government. And that is not an animal attack, but it is an attack of a different kind, but also aggressive and harmful. So the next time you remember the picture of this sledgehammer, remember the word maul and what it means. And now for the next key word, vigilant. Now if you look at the picture, you can see this dog, and this dog looks sharp. He is guarding the whole area without letting one thing pass without noticing. Can we say that the dog is vigilant? Is that the meaning of vigilant? Let's find out. Now, vigilant is an adjective. As someone who is vigilant gives careful attention to a particular problem or situation and concentrate on noticing any danger or trouble that there might be, just like the dog we saw in the picture. For example, he warned the public to be vigilant and report anything suspicious. And synonyms for vigilant are the words watchful, alert, on the lookout, and careful. And vigilance is the noun from vigilant. For example, democracy is fragile and will not survive without constant vigilance. And synonyms for vigilance are the words watchfulness, alertness, caution, and observance. So the next time you remember the picture of this dog, remember the word vigilant and what it means. And now let's move to the next key word, amiss. Now if you look at the picture, you can see this girl struggling. She is looking at something, but she does not look happy. Maybe because she is looking at something with a lot of mistakes, something that is a mess, something that is not right. Could that be the meaning of amiss? Let's find out. Amiss is an adjective. If you say that something is amiss, you mean there is something wrong. For example, their instincts warned them something was amiss. And synonyms for amiss are the words wrong, mistaken, confused, and false. And we have a common phrase with amiss. We say not go amiss or not come amiss. If you say that something would not go amiss or would not come amiss, you mean that it would be pleasant and useful. And that is usually used more in British English. For example, a bit of charm and humor would not go amiss, would be pleasant and useful. So the next time you remember the picture of this young woman with that worried look on her face, remember the word amiss and what it means. And now for the next key word, scurry. Now if you look at the picture, you can see this man running quickly somewhere. And it seems like he is running to get somewhere. Maybe he's afraid of something. He is running away from something. Who knows? But how does that relate to the word scurry? Does scurry have that meaning? Let's find out. Now, scurry is a verb. When people or small animals scurry somewhere, they move there quickly and hurriedly, especially because they are frightened. Now, we use this word more in written English. For example, the attack began sending residents scurrying for cover, moving quickly because they're frightened there is an attack. Or we can say the rats scurry around searching for scraps of food in the rubbish. And that is how rats usually move, very fast because they're usually frightened of getting caught. And synonyms for scurry are the words hurry, race, dash, or fly. And scurry can also be used in a different context. If people scurry to do something, they do it as soon as they can. For example, pictures of starving children have sent many people scurrying to donate money. They did it as soon as they could. So the next time you remember the picture of this man hurrying somewhere, remember the word scurry and what it means. And now for the next key word, hearth. Now if you look at this picture, you find this cozy fireplace, and that gives you a sense of warmth. But where is the word hearth in all that? Does it have the same meaning as fireplace? Let's find out. Now, hearth is a countable noun. The hearth is the floor of a fireplace, which sometimes extends into the room. For example, it was winter and there was a huge fire roaring in the hearth. And there's also a common phrase we use with hearth, and that is hearth and home. A person's home and family life can be referred to as their hearth and home. So the next time you remember this picture of that beautiful fireplace, remember the word hearth and what it means. And now for the next key word, haggle. Now if you look at the picture, you can see there's a vendor and he's selling books. Usually when you buy things from the street just like that, you might want to ask for a special discount, or you might want to pay a different price, because usually vendors overprice their items because they expect people to pay less. So is this concept of not paying the price you are asked and trying to pay a lower amount the idea behind haggle? Let's find out. Now, haggle is a verb. If you haggle, you argue about something before reaching an agreement, especially about the cost of something that you are buying. For example, Ella taught her how to haggle with used furniture dealers. And synonyms for haggle are the words bargain, barter, beat down, or drive a hard bargain. And haggling is the noun from haggle. For example, after months of haggling, they recovered only 3/4 of what they had lent. And haggle can also be used as a noun. For example, she laughed again, enjoying the haggle. So the next time you remember this picture of the vendor and the books, remember the word haggle and what it means. And now for the next key word, anonymous. Now if you look at the picture, you can obviously see that there is a person. We cannot even tell if this person is a man or a woman. Most probably it is a man. But even if we agree that this is a man, we have no way to tell who that man is because we cannot see this man's face. So could that have a meaning related to the word anonymous? Let's find out. Anonymous is an adjective. If you remain anonymous when you do something, you do not let people know that you were the person who did it. For example, you can remain anonymous if you wish. When I say you can remain anonymous, that means you can keep your identity secret if you want. You can remain anonymous. And synonyms for anonymous are the words unnamed, unknown, unidentified, or nameless. And the noun from anonymous is anonymity. For example, both mother and daughter who have requested anonymity are doing fine. And synonyms for anonymity are the words namelessness or innominateness. And we can use anonymously as an adverb. For example, the latest photographs were sent anonymously to the magazine's headquarters. And we can use anonymous in a different context. Something that is anonymous does not reveal who you are. For example, of course, that would have to be by anonymous vote. Anonymous vote doesn't let other people know who voted for whom. And also, anonymity is the uncountable noun. For example, he claims many more people would support him in the anonymity of a voting booth. And there is one more context for anonymous. If you describe a place as anonymous, you dislike it because it has no unusual or interesting features and seems unwelcoming. And that is a negative word we use to show our disapproval. For example, it's nice to stay in a home rather than an anonymous holiday villa. And synonyms for anonymous in this context are the words nondescript, impersonal, faceless, or colorless. And again, anonymity is the noun. For example, we say the anonymity of the rented room. Nothing interesting about it, nothing unusual. And synonyms for anonymity in this context are the words unremarkability or unremarkableness, characterlessness, and unsingularity. So the next time you remember the picture of this person who's probably a guy we couldn't identify, remember the word anonymous and what it means. And now for the next keyword, clarify. Now, if you look at the picture, we can see this young lady is helping this man by showing him something or explaining something to him on the board. Does that mean she is clarifying an idea to him? But what is the meaning of clarify? Let's find out. Now, clarify is a verb. To clarify something means to make it easier to understand, usually by explaining it in more detail. For example, a bank spokesperson was unable to clarify the situation. And that is usual when it comes to banks, because no matter what you go to the bank for, you come back with no clear explanation. And synonyms for clarify are the words explain, resolve, interpret, and illuminate. Clarification is the noun from clarify. For example, the union has written to Zurich asking for clarification of the situation. And synonyms for clarification are the words explanation, interpretation, exposition, or illumination. So the next time you remember this picture of this young lady explaining something to this man, remember the word clarify and what it means. And now for the next key word, radiant. Now, you look at this picture and immediately the golden domes are the thing that draws your attention. They are bright and shiny and magnificent. So do you think that relates to the word radiant? Let's find out. Now, radiant is an adjective. Someone who is radiant is so happy that their happiness shows in their face. It's like it's shining. For example, on her wedding day, the bride looked truly radiant, looked very happy, and you could see it on her face. And synonyms for radiant in this context are the words happy, glowing, ecstatic, and joyful. We can use radiantly as an adverb. For example, she looks radiantly happy. And radiant can also be used in a different context. Now, something that is radiant glows brightly, just like those domes we saw in the picture. For example, the evening sun warms the old red brick wall to a radiant glow, to that beautiful, bright glow. And synonyms for radiant in this context are the words bright, brilliant, shining, and glorious. We can use radiantly as an adverb. We can say the sun was still shining radiantly. So the next time you remember the picture with those golden domes, remember the word radiant and what it means. And now for the last key word for this chapter, havoc. If you look at the picture, you can see that there is something wrong. This house, or whatever it was, is completely destroyed. It's a total mess. Do you think that relates to the word havoc? Let's find out. Now, havoc is an uncountable noun. Havoc is great disorder and confusion. For example, rioters caused havoc in the center of the town. They caused great disorder and confusion. And synonyms for havoc are the words devastation, damage, destruction, or waste. And we have a common expression with havoc, and that is to play havoc. If one thing plays havoc with another or wreaks havoc on it, it prevents it from continuing or functioning as normal or damages it. For example, time zone changes play havoc with our bodies, or stress can wreak havoc on the immune system. So the next time you remember this picture with all this destruction, remember the word havoc and what it means. And that's all for this chapter.